what, I'm real glad that I've swapped my medical research laboratory bench for my current office.
This is the classic Marlborough terroir, geologically young, alluvial, free-draining, infertile soils, perfect for premium grape growing. You've already met one of New Zealand's classic innovators and most passionate winemakers, the irrepressible Dr. John Forrest. And when he's got his heart set on a destination, you may find it hard to keep up, especially when he's on his beloved bike.
Yvonne, how are you?
Really good. Had a good ride?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Park it up and come and sit down.
So many good miles of riding around Marlborough. How are you?
Really good. And even better now, I'm sitting in your, it's kind of the backyard for your house, but the front yard of the winery.
Yeah.
After giving away the medical career and sinking all of your money into this new wine venture and then starting to train yourself in terms of how to grow the grapes and make the wine, it must have been a pretty fantastic feeling tasting that very first bottle.
Yeah, well, I can still remember it was a 1990 rosé, and it was a sense of achievement.
What's the thing you're most proud of?
The consistent feedback that now, I no longer fill the door very often, but it's still happening today. People saying, we just love your wines, there's never a dud, they're just such a high, consistent quality. And that's, I think, all you can achieve as a winemaker, and all I really want to achieve, for the rest of my life, is to make better wine.
John is the winemaker here, but even though he fits into one day what others do in a week, he needs his team. And in the winery, that's Dave Knapstein with Chris Andrew and Martin Bell.
First St. Laurent, it's pretty important we get it right.
We could definitely do this unfined.
Good. Right. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing it in the bottle when we get back.
Great.
Cheers, guys. Well done.
And of course, John's passion for the ground that grows the grapes is just as great. There are 7 vineyards scattered around the different terroirs of Marlborough, but this is where it all started, on the banks of the Wairau River.
I'll tell you a story my father said to me when I was about 7 or 8 about this land. He said, don't buy any more of it because it's no good for dairy farming. And that's exactly it. You want the meanest, boniest bit of land to slow a grape. A grape comes from the jungle. It's just a weed. It's trying to grow 70 to 80 metres to the top of the canopy, genetically.
Right.
So that's what it's programmed to do.
Right, so give it some nutrition, give it some water, give it anything, and it will just go nuts.
Yep, absolutely. Give it stones, little water, lots of sunshine, and it'll, be 2 or 3 metres only or less, and it'll put all that energy into ripening just a few grapes, and that's exactly what, of course, we want. And terroir, it's a wonderful French word, but it really means the total environment in which the grape grows. It's everything. You've got to have the sky and the sun. You've got to have what's under the ground, as you so rightly said.
Now back to Marlborough for some of what made John famous.
This is the Forrest Sauvignon Blanc, and I've got to tell you, John, this is something that I've actually been drinking for many a year. In fact, I think it was one of the very first Marlborough Sauvignons that I ever tasted.
Great. I think this might be our 21st or 22nd.
So is that right?
Got a bit of pedigree now. Yeah, and it's changed over the years. I think we are now where we're comfortable and want to be with it. And I think it expresses the terroir of the Stony Wairau River beautifully.
Well, it's clean, it's got really piercing fruit and some nice floral aromas too, like sort of elderflower and summery sort of aromas.
Yeah, elderflower, guava-ish aromas are a character in the middle part of this valley where the vineyards that make Forrest come from, around home here.
So there's Sauvignon, under the Forrest label, you've got Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, the classics really, Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Riesling, Pinot Gris, of course Pinot Noir, and a rosé. And the rosé was the first wine we ever made. I think I was telling you by accident we overfilled the red fermenter. Came over the top of the tank, so we ran a little rosé off, made a few cases, entered it illegally in the Air New Zealand Wine Awards because we hand bottled it and sent it off at the last day for entering, and it won the champion rosé of New Zealand, our first ever wine.
Superb.
Yeah, that's one of those family heritage stories.
Yes.
The other thing John's passionate about is his cooking, and he's got vine trunks and Central Otago wild thyme in the Weber and has been slow cooking some New Zealand lamb for us, which gives me the chance to meet the lovely Dr. Bridget Forrest and, of course, the next Forrest generation.
When John said to you, sweetheart, I think I'm going to give up my career and buy a bunch of land and transform it into vineyards. Did you faint?
No. I told him that he had to stop being depressed and not enjoying his job and find something that he really wanted to do. And so that's why his retirement project came forward several decades. So,
is it weird having strangers just coming onto your property wanting to taste wine?
We've always grown up with people just being around the house and people coming and going, so it's just been part of life, really.
I suppose one of the biggest things has always been that the staff here have very much been like our family, and that our winemaker and our viticulturalist have been here for 20 years, and for us that's most of our lifetime. So
I've never not known Tim being around, so
it's just like a big brother or another dad or an uncle or someone.
Cool. Right, well I think we need to get the rest of the cutlery on, because I know that John wants to get the lamb on the table.
Well, Central Otago, wild thyme smoked hot Weber lamb.
Yum.
Tatty Boggler, Otago 2009.
All right, you carve, I'll pour.
You pour. Oh my, and I hope, oh yeah, it's going to come out very, very nice.
There you go, Bridget. Lovely, look at that. I love that colour. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, smell that thyme. Magnificent.
Definitely remembering that recipe.
Yeah.
If I can get my Weber to go properly. Is there an ultimate plan, ultimate dream?
For me personally, I want to leave Forrest Wines, our vineyards, the environment of Marlborough, I suppose to New Zealand, because we've got Gimlet Gravels and Otago, better than I inherited them and found them. It's handing it on and having the children view themselves and see themselves as the guardians of, I say, the good fortune.
Well, here's to being good guardians. Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
The Moutere Valley near Nelson, New Zealand's sunshine capital, has been the hub of the nation's fruit-growing fever for decades. So it stands to reason that no sooner were apple trees first planted than those early Epicureans began turning that fruit into cider. It made perfect sense to start a commercial cidery here, and in 1947, that's just what happened. After staying low-key for, 60 years, thankfully Old Mout Cider has had a renaissance of passion, thanks to these two likely lads.
You could have both bought maybe a racehorse or a flash car. Why on earth did you buy a cidery?
Just why did we buy a cidery?
Well, let's say that when we came into the business, it wasn't quite the plan. Redwood Cellars was going to be a fantastic exporter of vinegar to Asia.
Oh, vinegar.
Yep, we had that wrong completely. We sat back and looked at the suite of products that Redwood made, said, hey, we've got ciders that have been earning awards for years and years. We're just not selling a lot of it, and the label looks a bit rough, and we haven't really put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah.
What could we do if we did? We quickly identified that, hey, if we actually want to be good at this, we need to have people with more skills and experience, and we had to have a facility that could support the growth.
What is it about Old Mout Cider that's
First, where we are, I think. I mean, looking around you can see apple orchards here.
It's the most amazing setting.
It's just a magic place. Being local is a huge part of it.
Yep.
Being passionate is the other thing. You know, we are an absolute cidery. We're not trying to do beer, we're not trying to do wine. We make cider for cider lovers, and we listen to our consumers. We enjoy developing new products, getting out there. And I think it's the passion and enthusiasm from the whole team.
Fantastic to see that.
Yeah, I think it's lovely.
It all starts with the raw ingredients, and out in the local orchards we find cider maker Merrifee Hislop, checking out the harvest for the latest vintage.
What do you need to have happen inside this apple for it to be exactly right for cider?
We use culinary apple varieties as opposed to cider apple varieties.
Right, so culinary apples, things like what, Gala?
Yeah,
and
so Braeburn, Old Mout Cider is about sort of 60% Braeburn, and then the rest, the other 40% is made up of Gala, Pink Lady, Temptation, Jazz, Eve, and just any number of other apple varieties that are grown around here. So ideally we want to get all the flavour from the apple without having to add any acid or any sugar.
So how important is it to you to be constantly thinking about new products?
It's pretty important. It's a really big part of what we do at Old Mout Cider. Being innovative is just a really key part of my job. We get ideas from our staff and from our customers, and we're really open and willing to try anything. I've always got something on the go in the lab. little ferments and new ideas. We're just, it's just what it's all about, really.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Meet David Sax, the chief cider maker, sampling, blending and working his magic in the lab. David oversees the entire process of cider making here, from the fruit selection to the pressing and juice extraction. Once the juice arrives in the Old Mout Cider tanks, the special yeast is added and it ferments away until all the sugar is gone. It's filtered and then it's ready for blending.
We're reasonably unusual here in so much as we don't just ferment apples and pears, we ferment boysenberries, cranberries and feijoa, and we're actually using those fruit wines to blend with our ciders.
David's got a tasting of all the elements, starting with the apple cider, some pear cider, boysenberry wine,
Wow, it's intense.
their crisp, lip-smackingly fresh feijoa wine,
That's really clean, lean, intense, isn't it?
and cranberry wine.
A marriage of this with cider just works sensationally.
And once these elements are blended, the mixture is carbonated, bottled, and packaged up ready for market. Old Mout Cider has won a healthy collection of trophies from all over the place, even Oz and America. In fact, they're New Zealand's most awarded cider.
Gosh, these scones are fantastic. They're made with boysen cider, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Really good, really moist. If you want to do any testing,
There's always when you say that there's a suite of tasting to be done in the lab, there's generally a wee huddle to get through the door to make sure that, we're part of the taste panel. So it's not a difficult part of the job, the taste panel, is it?
no. I'll tell you what, eating this gorgeous pear cider cake is fantastic too. Not tough at all. Here's to the end of a very long day, hard day tasting cider.
Cheers.
Very good.
I'm Andy Deuchars, says Andy, or if I take the coat off, it'll say Andy. I'm the head brewer here at Renaissance Brewing. We're a nice little team here, and behind me you see the brewery.
Enthusiasm for all things medieval, combined with a desire to celebrate the rebirth of craft brewing, led Andy Deuchars and his brother-in-law Brian Thiel to calling their brewery Renaissance, a name that could also refer to the revival of this tiny brewery since the expat Americans took it on in 2005.
Andy, thank you so much for inviting me to come in and see your very small but perfectly formed little brewery. It wasn't always this way though, was it?
No. I like to describe it as, let's say someone had an afternoon off and they went and they toured a big brewery and they saw kind of how that was. Then later, maybe a year or two later, they got really drunk and had a free afternoon with a lot of stainless steel. And that was kind of how this place looked.
And a blowtorch and
oh,
some
geez, yeah. Yeah.
So why did you take it on?
Large amounts of optimism paired with large amounts of stupidity. Yes.
But Brian he wasn't a brewer, was he?
No.
So why'd you bring him in on things?
Because, well, it has
he
turned
liked
out.
beer, or?
Well, yes. But
Okay.
the important thing was he was a Mercedes mechanic by trade and could fix things.
Very important. And you try and use local ingredients? I heard you talking to someone earlier saying that you use Marlborough hops and you use South Island malt, is that right?
Yep. All our pale malt, can show some here. We've got the pale malt there, pale in color. That's from Gladfield Maltings down in Dunsandel in Canterbury. And that's what I use for the base ingredient for all my beers. The rest of the malts here, such as this chocolate malt, this is Cara Aroma. It's a kind of a crystal malt. It's a little bit different. This is wheat malt, which is used in a wheat beer, malted wheat.
Yeah. Oh, they're so cute. Very dainty.
A little bit smaller. And then roasted to kind of chocolate color.
Yeah. But it's not as intense. The chocolate
No, it gives a whole
wheat
different
is not
flavor.
the same as the barley.
Yeah.
Quite different. But with the hops, and you've got some pellets here and some, do you just call them leaf or bud, or what do you?
Yeah, cone hops, because they look like
hops?
cone. They're like well, when they're growing, they look like a tiny little pine cone kind of thing. For hundreds of kilos of malt, we use kilos of hops. Okay. It's a spice.
Okay.
Yeah. As a brewer, I've got a palette of hops that I can select from. I've got a palette of malts that I can select from. And I also have a palette of yeast that I can select from for exactly what I want.
So what's the craziest ingredient you've ever used in a beer?
Oh, goodness. Well, it was back when I was home brewing.
It's okay, bring it on. What was it?
Frankincense.
You put frankincense in your beer?
Yeah.
I don't even
And
know
that's
what
not new.
frankincense tastes like.
That's not new either.
Is that a Kiwi thing?
No, I got it from an old Elizabethan book on brewing. So, they put everything in. Bog myrtle and frankincense and chickens. I mean, yeah, anything. Yeah.
It's only fair that Andy and I sit down to try some of the Renaissance brews. With 7 beers, they range from the darkest Craftsman Stout to the lightest Paradox Pilsner. The other brewer on board here is Matt, a British expat. He's trying the Voyager. I've got the barley wine, and Andy's going for the Elemental Porter.
So Matt, what is it about the Voyager? Why do you like it so much?
Being from England, this is a British-style IPA, which
Right.
in fact, a lot of the IPAs in Britain you'll get in the pub are around 3 to 4%.
Okay.
Nice little hop finish, so this is more or less a double version of wine.
A lot like this one too. It'd be great with food. But I'm looking at the Elemental. Is that how you say it? Elemental?
Elemental porter.
Why Elemental?
It implies, strength and depth of character, I think. And porter is probably my favorite style of beer. I think of it kind of as the Pinot Noir of the beer world, actually.
Pinot Noir.
It's hard to do just perfect, yeah.
Right. This is just an absolute job well done.
Thank you.
It's best to buy 2, one to drink now, one to lay down. And
I'm going to buy 20.
good.
Cheers.
Good. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wine is an everyday part of life nowadays, and it's easy to forget that once upon a time things were very different. And if it wasn't for people like Irishman Ernie Hunter and his Australian-born wife Jane, New Zealand might not have much of a modern wine culture at all.
Okay, Jane, from the beginning, you had a fantastic career with Montana as viticulturalist.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so why on earth did you go into the wine business on your own?
Not through choice, certainly, but in 1987, Hunters, which had just been started by my late husband, who is an Irishman.
This is Ernie?
Ernie, yes.
Okay.
He died in a car accident, and so the choice was to leave Montana and take over Hunters. So it wasn't really, well, I say a choice, but it wasn't really a choice. It was something that just had to happen.
Can you explain to me how Hunters was born? How did this whole amazing business begin?
Purely, I always say it was Irish luck, really. The vineyard had been planted in 79, and Irish luck kind of came into play. 7 acres of the vineyard had been planted to Sauvignon Blanc, which was just that new variety that no one really had heard about. So it was all Mullaturgau, that wonderful variety that we don't hear anything about anymore.
It was in 1986 that Ernie took his Sauvignon Blanc to London and walked away with the hugely prestigious Wine of the Show award, up against wines from France, Germany and Italy. He really put Hunters and New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc on the map. Since then, Hunters have amassed over 160 gold medals, more than 25 trophies and countless international awards, with Jane at the head of this fantastic team, including winemaker Gary Duke and viticulturalist Brian Vickery, and the next generation. James is the newest winemaker, and he just happens to be Jane's nephew.
Looks like you're getting ready to label.
Yeah, so we're just going to label a little bit of Pinot Noir for the domestic market.
But I hear you're a bit of a jack of all trades around here at Hunters.
I'm not too bad with a coffee machine.
Okay.
I guess I can drive a tractor. I spent quite a bit of time out in the vineyard when I was young.
Because your dad, Pete's the general manager, right?
That's right.
So does he constantly kind of come down and check on you?
No, he's not the one checking on me, it's my auntie Jane.
Oh, she's the one that comes down. So out of everything that Hunters produces, and there's a lot of different wines here, what's your favourite style to make?
Well, I think I'm going to have to say Marlborough Merlot, which is...
Hold on.
Goodness.
Marlborough Merlot?
Yeah, that's right. We've got about 1 hectare down the end of our vineyard here on Rapara Road.
Because, people say, Merlot, that's North Island territory,
People would and probably should say that, but I've done a lot of work in Bordeaux on the right bank, so I love Merlot, and all I want to do is make a really good one to take back to my mates over there. I think I'm in a club of one at the moment.
You're in a club of one.
Yeah, I'm trying to drum up an entrepreneur for the 2012 already, but on Twitter.
So there you go. If you're a fan of Marlborough Merlot, if you want to try something totally different, get in touch with James because he's getting a bit lonely being in his club of one. Bless.
So now it's time to meet James's boss, Gary Duke. He's been the winemaker here since 1991 and has seen a lot of changes. But there's one thing that's just as great today as it was back then.
So this is a 2011 Savvy.
Fantastic, and this is what Hunters this is what made Hunters famous in those early days, really, didn't it?
It is, yep. And started exporting it all over to the UK and then all over the world. So it's a big part of our production.
And it's just unmistakably Marlborough in the nose.
Yep.
You know, passion fruit, lime, that kind of stony minerality.
Yeah, what we try to do is get a whole fruit salad of flavours, and so we've got all that minerality and the passion fruit and a bit of herbaceousness, a bit of cut lawn, a good bracing acidity, good fresh summer wine.
Fantastic. Lots of citrus.
Yep. I think if you treat it softly and gently in the winery, it will last. And we've got wines that have lasted 6, 7, 8 years.
Is that right? What would I be getting in the glass with a Sauvignon Blanc that was, say, 4 or 5 years old?
One of the main things is the acidity sort of rounds out and gets a little bit fatter in the mouth. There's a bit more of the peach and those sort of aromas coming through as well. So the fruit salad changes a little bit. So
what's in the future? What's coming up for Hunters?
We're experimenting all the time. This year, we have 50 or 60 different batches of Sauvignon Blanc.
Is that right?
And
that's a massive amount.
Oh yeah, but we've
I suppose,
lots of different batches, different pickings.
And having all that choice means you can, have a bit
we
of a
can
play
blend
around.
well, and so we can do a lot of experimenting as well.
No, it's not an easy job.
It's a bit of a stressful job, especially with the weather sometimes. So if it's going to rain when you go to pick, that's quite stressful, and then you worry about it right up until the last bottle's sold.
Tell you what, I'm really enjoying it.
Yep.
Cheers.
Thank
Job
you.
well done.
Okay. Ta.